Hey everyone, with Tom Quayle here.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
It's good to be in your nice room here, and
Yeah.
after the show, a long show,
Tiring show.
a lot of walking.
Yep. Achy feet.
Yes, you've been here a few times.
This is my third time.
Third time. Okay.
So less than people think, because I came in 2010 and then missed 2011.
Okay.
I can't remember why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came in 2012 last year, and then this year as well. I love it here. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
The show's really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just like bumping into people like you. And
Mhm.
but it's cool because you only see these people once a year.
Yeah.
It's a weird phenomenon because I was saying to somebody the other day, I speak to people in foreign countries
Mm-hmm.
more than I do my friends that live 10
Yeah.
minutes away.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I know.
really bizarre.
It's a weird world. It's a
Yeah, so when you hook up in
yeah.
one town, like in LA, it's like here and then in Frankfurt for the music
Mhm.
mess,
Yeah.
and I see all these people and it's like literally, it doesn't seem like a year's passed.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
so bizarre. Well,
It
it doesn't
is.
seem like it was a year ago since I met you for the
Yeah.
first time.
No. Yeah.
I could have been at this show. It could have been
Yeah.
yesterday. It's
It
just
could have
bizarre.
been. Yeah. It's
Very strange.
It's when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a musician.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that this is what it would mean.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's strange.
When I did my jazz degree,
Yeah.
I was convinced that it's funny how you go through this stuff, but I was convinced I was going to be in New York doing
Yeah.
jazz gigs,
Yeah.
being Nick Kelly basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's funny how it works out, where you end up running almost like a business on the internet, because
Mhm.
obviously you're doing a similar kind
Yeah.
of thing,
Yeah.
and that becomes almost like the focus of what you do, and then enables you to do some of the other stuff that you do. But I mean, I don't. You will definitely do a lot more gigging than me because you have the band.
I don't know gigging, but
Yeah, you guys play live though, do you?
it's rare. That's
it?
what you see online. That's the magic of the
Of course,
YouTube.
yeah.
You know?
The editing makes it.
You all
look
think
great.
that I'm, gigging
gigging
all the time,
machine.
but
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny how being a musician has changed so much.
Yeah.
The whole career is completely different.
yeah, absolutely.
And the internet has changed things beyond, well, even when I was studying,
Yeah.
none of this was around.
Yeah.
It's the last, for me, it's since 2008. How long have you been doing the YouTube thing?
About 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
So less than me. That's an
Guess so.
epic number
Well,
of,
Yeah.
well, building that up that
yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing.
A lot of free time.
Well, it's free time. You could say it was free time. But it's free time, but you're working hard.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Because as we were saying a minute ago, the amount of time it takes to put those videos
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And you've really thought about how you're going to approach the teaching side of things in a really big way. I mean, the book, I've not seen it yet, but the
Yeah.
book you've just released
Yeah.
on iTunes,
Yeah.
I guess. It's
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the App Store. Is it
Mhm.
through the, no,
Yeah, it's the Apple, the iBooks.
so how do you get it? You go on iBooks and then
Right.
it's not on the App Store.
No.
It's not an app.
Yeah,
Because you've done an app as well, haven't you?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
someone
So-
else. It's
oh,
the other guy.
The other guy,
Yeah.
the other David Ireland.
Right.
Your imposter.
Yeah,
Evil
yeah.
twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, doing stuff like that, there's
Mhm.
some serious time being put into
Yeah,
this.
there's a
So
lot of
I mean, it
things.
is a job. It's not free time.
It's a full job.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a very interesting job because there's so many hats you got to wear, as
Yeah.
you know.
Well, there's that meme that was going around Facebook that said musicians have to be a producer,
Yeah.
engineer,
Yeah.
video editor.
That's so true.
You
Yeah.
know, there's so many things you have to do. But I don't know how you feel about it, but I love doing all those things.
Yes. Yeah.
My big thing is new bits of software.
Mhm.
I'm addicted to learning,
Yeah.
like Final Cut,
Yeah. Yeah.
Adobe Premiere before that, and then
Mhm.
learning, Logic and Cubase.
Yeah. I'm the same.
I sit and watch tutorials on them.
Yeah. Yeah. There
In
you go.
fact,
Yeah.
I probably spend more time doing that and watching other guitarists play on YouTube
Yeah.
than I do actually doing the things
Uh,
I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. I
It's
think that's
tragic.
normal though.
Yeah, of course.
I agree, yeah.
Everybody does it.
I love it. I know some people are complaining about how music is changing and all that. I love it
Me too.
because you're not stuck to one thing and you've got to think outside the box and
And I think even really hardcore musicians in terms of the old, I'm not going to say the old school, the more traditional way of thinking, are even they're coming round to the idea
Yeah.
that the internet is this incredible tool for
Mhm.
pushing your career forwards.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I have friends, a friend of mine, Scott Devine,
Mhm.
who he was gigging a lot and he still does gig a lot, but he's had a YouTube channel now for about 2 years. I don't know if you've seen Scott's bass lessons.
No.
This is the thing. These guys, I mean, in the bass world,
Mhm.
he's pretty famous now. Famous in terms of, it's not the fame that really matters, but he's got lots of followers.
Yeah, yeah,
And that enables him to do things that he could never do
exactly.
before.
Yeah.
So he's become a successful person in terms of having financial stability in his life through a medium that just wasn't available 5 or 6 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And he's done it within 2 years, but he's done what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
So many videos.
Yeah.
I don't know how he finds the time, but it's a lot of tuition stuff as well.
Yeah.
How many videos are you doing a week?
3 a week.
3 a week.
Monday and Wednesdays.
Oh, I feel guilty now.
No, don't. But you're doing other stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the Lick Library thing is taking up a lot of my time now. That's
exactly.
great, actually, because that's been really good for a few things. It's really good because it's stable. Working for the magazine is great because there's an issue that comes out. It's not monthly; it's 6 weekly, I think. But this year it's going to be almost monthly.
Okay.
That's cool because I get to go down and play with bits of gear that I wouldn't really get to play with.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It's really, really nice.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, I wanted to ask you if that even exists. What is a typical day for you? If there's a such thing.
Yeah, it kind of does exist. I mean, I do a lot of practicing because I've managed to organise myself. Actually, the first part of my day is replying to emails, and it must be just as bad, if not worse, for you.
Yeah.
I received.
Yeah.
We arrived here after the flight, and I had 130 emails.
Yeah.
And I love getting the emails, but I mean, some of them are not to do with guitar playing.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend a huge amount of time responding to emails.
Yeah.
And I need to get better at that because, as you know, because there's a few you've sent me that I haven't replied to, and I apologize.
That's all good. No,
I mean, it's not through not wanting to. It's just I have a bit of a kind of skittish brain. So if I'm sometimes it's skittish, sometimes it's very focused, and if it's too focused and I want to do something, everything else gets ignored. And if I'm in skittish mode, I go from one thing to the next thing within 30 seconds. So I can't focus on anything. My brain's quite weird like that.
I understand.
But an average day, I'll reply to a load of emails in the morning. And then usually I get really heavily involved with some form of playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens for a while. And then at the moment, I'm working on a Steely Dan DVD for Lick Library.
Okay.
So this is how it changes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm working on the website, new material, and I'm working on I haven't told anyone this yet, but I'm working on a members thing for not to sell extra lessons, but in terms of tuition. So people who want feedback on what they're doing. Yeah. It's going to be very cheap, very cheap. It's not going to be like a full, $40 a month thing where there's going to be loads of exclusive lessons. It's just if people want feedback on stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I get a lot of people sending me stuff saying, "Can you tell me how I can improve this or whatever?" So it just makes it a bit more focused for me. I just don't have random emails. People have a place they can. I have to do that every day. Yeah. So that's going to be quite useful. Yeah. So I was working on that, but at the moment I'm working on a Steely Dan DVD, and I have to learn 7 Steely Dan tunes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have to learn them and teach them, because we can't transcribe them. Yeah. For copyright reasons. Yeah. So I don't know if you've seen any of the Lick Library DVDs.
I've seen some.
So you have to teach everything verbally. Yeah. So you imagine learning a Steely Dan tune. Yeah. With a 5-minute epic solo. Yeah. Like Reeling in the Years is a good example. Yeah. Yeah. Elliot Randall playing like huge epic solos that are basically pentatonic based and quite hard to memorize because they're truly just completely improvised.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I have to learn them note for note and then play them back and describe them and teach them. Yep. And it's amazing how you get halfway through a line, which you can play perfectly, and then you have to describe it, and you can't remember where you are.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's going to take days. Yeah. So when I get back, I have to record all the guitar parts for the backing tracks. It's a great project though, because doing something like that really, really kicks your ass, because you really have to learn that stuff inside out. Yeah. So that's going to give me some focus, and then I think we're going to do a Santana one as well, which for me is like trying to learn flamenco or something, because I don't play that style at all. Yeah. I recently had to do some Stevie Ray Vaughan licks for them, and it's just the tuning for a start. Yeah. So that's always interesting as well, because I have to switch to standard tuning, and that really screws with my brain.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And there's a few players who use the fourths things, but what inspired you to do that?
My story of how this happened is very banal and stupid, because I had a guitar teacher. A really good guitar player. I always try and mention him in things like this because he's really good, and he was a fantastic teacher and amazing for me. A guy called Graham Young from Leeds, and he tuned in fourths, and I was an impressionable 17-year-old, 18-year-old. Yeah. just about to go to jazz college the following year, and I basically did everything Graham did.
Yeah.
So he tuned in fourths.
Okay.
So I tuned in fourths.
Yeah.
Now the thing with it was I've been playing since I was 15, so I've done about 3 years, and I'd learnt loads of dream theatre.
Yeah.
Basically what I used to do, you might have done the same thing, I've spoken to loads of guitarists who've done this. Christmas time would be, you'd have all your Steve Vai CDs, your dream theatre stuff, and then my parents would buy me the transcription books.
Yeah.
And I would learn every single note.
Yeah.
So I went and did all of that stuff, but when I was doing that, I didn't have any fretboard knowledge at all. I could play like 3-note per string modes if you said play them.
Yeah.
I would do the thing where you go Ionian, Dorian.
Yeah, right.
No idea what they were or why you would use them.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to know. So yeah, I'd learn all those. And then I changed to fourths tuning because Graham did it.
Okay.
He gave me a load of Bach violin studies to learn in that tuning, so it started to feel comfortable. Then I went to Leeds College of Music, and it seemed like it was a cool thing to do because no one else did it.
Yeah.
So I didn't switch back, which would have been easier.
Yeah.
Because obviously everything we were given to learn, all the chord charts,
standard
everything
tuning,
was standard tuning.
Of course.
So I had to switch everything around, which was cool because some of the voicings I ended up using were obviously unique to the tuning, and some of the chord melody stuff is just, you can't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of the chords that you guys play with a bar don't work anymore.
Right, yeah.
Not just basic bar chords, but like some shapes for sort of, like a major 9 shape.
Yeah.
I've got a guitar there at some point. I could get it out and I can show you some stuff that I'm thinking of, but it doesn't work anymore. But there were advantages as well. And then I learnt the whole, my knowledge of the fretboard is in fourths. So if you give me a guitar in standard tuning, I can't do it.
Okay.
So I go around guitar shows retuning guitars and leaving them like that.
Yeah.
When you were learning even something simple like a Dorian scale, when you get to the B string, was it ever a factor that caused you an issue, or did you never think about it because the guitar is tuned that way anyway?
I never thought about it, but I was young when I did it too, and I didn't really think in terms of why. I thought that's the way it is.
That's the way the guitar is.
Yeah.
But now, if you think about it, does it ever cause you issues with more complex stuff? It's just still just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just natural. Yeah.
Because for me, when I go back, I used to teach for Yamaha, and I had to teach in standard tuning, and I read in fourths tuning. I read chord charts in fourths tuning notation. So to me, a D is at the 2nd fret of the B string. Yeah. So when I was reading with the kids I was teaching, my brain was literally fighting. It was like serious schizophrenia going on. Musical schizophrenia, because it really caused some severe issues, and I would then go and do a gig where I'd have to read and think that D was the 3rd fret of my C string. Yeah. Just as an example. Yeah. And it would cause some fairly big issues. That was actually one of the reasons why I stopped doing that job. Okay. Because it was tearing my brain
I can imagine, yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
So there are some disadvantages. I mean, from a teaching perspective, like some of the lick library stuff I have to retune. And I now have a thing, whenever I do a lesson for them, I have to say I'm in fourths tuning, because and I have to transcribe everything in standard. And the stuff on the website, my website, I've started doing 2 transcriptions for everything. Okay. That's only recent though. And that's weird. I've had lots of people send me emails saying, can I have the transcriptions in fourths? Yeah. Which is kind of interesting.
Do you think the tuning in fourths helped would help someone achieve the type of playing that you have, Because when I think of your playing, I think there's the melodic tom, there's that stuff, but there's also like I call this cool automatic mode, where you're doing a lot of 16th or 16th triplets.
Yeah, constant lines thing. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think if you have the fretboard knowledge anyway, that should be fine, because the way I practice that stuff is very different. Obviously, it's a technical approach that needs to be there. Yeah. But I always liken it sort of a game of chess where I don't play chess very well at all. Yeah. But the idea of thinking a certain number of moves ahead, and it's kind of the mentality you have when you play over changes. The more complex the changes, the more you have to think ahead to think about the next chord. So and again, it's the same thing when you read notation. You should, if you're good at it, which I'm not bad for a guitar player, but I'm not like sax players or classical musicians who read. They're probably reading a bar or 2 ahead. Yeah. So you're processing the information before you need to. So with that legato thing, which is how I do it, I mean, you could do the same thing with picking, obviously, but with me it's legato. I don't think about it anymore because it's become subconscious, but I practice doing it so slowly that I could always see a route to get to the place I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But there were maybe, by the end of practicing it, there were 15 different routes as opposed to just one.
Yeah.
So it was it's still very muscle memory based, but I can manipulate the muscle memory more than I would be able to if I hadn't practiced it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So obviously the technique thing has to be practiced slowly and then gradually speeded up, and then you know, I guess people have different opinions as to how you get the speed, whether you practice fast to play fast or whether you practice and build up the speed. I genuinely can't remember.
Okay.
So I probably have a way I teach it that is not the way I did it.
Yeah.
Which is how a lot of teaching goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that side of things, playing constant streams of notes, which is like a sax player would play, is definitely from practicing very, very slowly and having a few moves ahead mapped out in a subconscious way eventually. Yeah, I guess I thought about it at some point. But it's kind of weird because I don't think I thought about it that way. It was just an intuitive thing. I'm not that good at practicing. I do practice, but I'm not very good at it, if you see what I mean. I don't plan it out.
I do,
I don't figure out a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you did practice, but probably a different way.
Yeah, so I still do practice, but I've never had a practice regime where I go, I've never sat down, and I don't know why, but I've never sat down and thought, that's my goal. Yeah. I need to do A, B and C to get there. Yeah. I just have wanted to do something and played a lot. Yeah. And the concept has been whatever the concept is, and it's eventually worked itself out. I do sometimes do that thing where you think, I wonder what my potential would be if I did have a practice regime. Yeah. And I tried one at the beginning of the year. It doesn't work. Yeah, I know. Partly actually because, as I was saying before, your day is never quite the same. So you can't go, I'm going to do this for 2 hours and then that for 2 hours. Yeah, exactly. So I am the guy that tells my students to have a practice regime and doesn't do it. Yeah. I think we are. Yeah, most teachers are like that, I think. I think so too. Because it's a good idea, but life takes over. Yeah, but it's good too that life takes over, I think, because it really helps you develop who you are. And and it's good that you latch on to, if you had a practice regime that was the same every day, it becomes boring. Yeah, it does. And that's not why you play guitar? Yeah, I think it's like learning a new language, and you can learn all the rules and all that, but until you're actually in that country, you're never going to speak fluently and never really going to enjoy the true treasure of music. And this is why I'm determined to get my album finished and then start gigging again, because I haven't properly gigged for a while. Yeah. And I miss it, and I can notice in my playing that there's elements missing that were there a few years ago when I was gigging a lot. Yeah. Especially from a rhythmic and confidence perspective, and creativity as well. Because obviously when you're playing off of other musicians, it's a completely different experience. Yeah. I mean, I am guilty now of playing to backing tracks too much. I love playing to backing tracks, and I love writing backing tracks. I've got a few of yours. Yeah. And they're great, but it's become too much. It's become a habit. Yeah, it does. A bad habit for me. Yeah. I don't play out enough. Yeah. And it's outrageous because I have an amazing gear setup now that needs to be correct. Yeah, absolutely. Tonally. Yeah. The Axe-Fx 2, as you know. Have you gigged a lot with that? Not a lot. A little bit. Yeah. And it's so easy. Yeah, I mean, I've used it for masterclasses. Yeah. Where it's loud. Yeah. And a couple of gigs where it's been pushed with the Matrix power up. Yep. And I'd had it maybe 2 weeks, so I hadn't quite tweaked it enough, but it did sound amazing. But now I've really had a chance to nail some tones. Yeah. I need to take it out and really push it and see what happens. Absolutely. I think it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So tell me, I might be completely off here, and I talked to other people about you, and before the 2008 Guitar Idol, I had no clue who you were. And it's kind of the same with a lot of other people. Am I right? Yeah. So that kind of changed your career a little bit? Yeah, completely. What were you doing before that? So if I go back a little bit further, in 2002 I graduated, and I was gigging a lot. Okay. So I was doing duo gigs, mostly duo gigs, and recorded a couple of, I say albums, they wouldn't count as albums now, they were real dodgy recordings, but good stuff, but was a real hardcore jazz guy. wasn't interested. If I'd heard myself play now,
Mm-hmm.
I would have looked at myself with disdain.
Really?
Yeah, because
okay.
you do go through this mindset when you're a jazz musician, that everything else is dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. And I came out the other side of it, and it was very competitive. I mean, I could tell it wasn't for me, and I was quite down and depressed.
The jazz world was competitive?
The jazz world
was
very competitive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dog eat dog, big time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a strange world. It's great, and I would still love to have been a part of it, because for me that was the elite thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was that's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the next Kurt Rosenwinkel,
mm-hmm.
but it's an unrealistic goal. There's nothing wrong with having unrealistic goals, unless you start to find that you can't eat anymore because you can't afford to
mm-hmm.
pay for food because of your unrealistic goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically at that point I ended up working at Virgin Megastore for 4.5-5 years.
Okay.
And realised after 5 years what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. I met loads of cool people.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of chilled out for 4 or 5 years. Still played loads of guitar, and then started teaching because I wanted to make a living from music,
mm-hmm.
and was teaching a lot and doing quite well out of it. And then saw that competition in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I already had a few I started doing YouTube videos in 2006, but just as a curiosity.
Yeah.
I actually did more stuff on MySpace first.
Okay, yeah.
Ancient relic of the internet, yeah. MySpace. I had a few videos on there that were just, I got a MacBook.
Yeah.
I had like G5 towers that didn't have webcams.
Yeah.
Got a little white plastic MacBook that
mm-hmm.
fell up. Jack's got it now. Fell apart completely. And shot some videos back in 2006. Just playing. It's quite interesting looking at them because the legato thing's not quite formed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a jazz guy, I used to be not a hardcore picker, but more like a Pat Metheny style,
mm-hmm.
where I was picking most of the notes and then doing a little bit of legato just to fill in where my picking hand would fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then totally changed the way I played. I started doing the legato thing, and in 2006 to 2008, it's not quite formed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll play lines, and you can see on the really old videos I get stuck halfway through, from tripping up over myself.
Yep.
And that doesn't happen so much anymore. But yeah, I saw this competition, and Chris Feener. Do you know Chris Feener?
I don't know.
Oh, Chris Feener's great. Chris Feener had entered it. He was one of the first entries, and there were 2 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
So there were 3 entries on there.
Yeah.
And I thought, I should do this.
Yeah.
Because if there's only 3 guys, I stand a chance.
Yeah.
4 entries, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then it went crazy.
Yes.
It went absolutely insane. And that was, for me, nothing to do with the fact that I was in it. That was the best year because it was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had more hits on the website in the second and third year.
Yeah.
But it was new and it was original.
I
it was
remember.
On a big stage.
Yeah. It was
really
incredible.
Cool.
I remember that.
There were some organisational issues. Were you there?
I was part of the first one, yeah.
Yeah, of course you were. Yeah. And that was the first time I ever heard you play.
Maybe.
Thinking back on it now.
What do you think is going to happen in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Wow. You see, if I had my own way, I'd probably be out here.
Okay.
But I have a fiance.
Yeah.
And she would kill me.
Oh, okay.
Well, she doesn't want to come out here, which is great. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't think it actually matters where you are these days. So that's fine. But if I don't have my album out in 10 years,
mm-hmm.
you can all officially punch me in the face or beat me up or whatever. Because I've been saying since 2009, I think, that I would have it out that year.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that has to happen.
Okay.
I hope I'll be more than 1 album down the line.
Yeah.
I also hope that I keep getting better because mm-hmm. I would hate to be 10 years down the line and sound exactly the same as I do now.
Yeah.
That scares me.
Mm-hmm.
That I would start to rest on my laurels a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I still have a sound in my head that I want to be and I'm not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one thing. But yeah, I don't know. That's the funny thing about what I'm doing. I don't know how you feel about this, but I haven't really thought about my career in terms of a business plan.
Yeah.
I have in terms of the website.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. But me as a musician,
yeah,
I haven't planned that out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where it's going to go. Things are getting quite interesting now because like the release of the Wampler pedal.
Yep.
The guitars, the Fibonacci guitars, which are amazing, and you know, things are picking up.
Yeah.
And it's weird, it's kind of scary and amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's slightly nerve-wracking, there's a bit of pressure involved.
Yeah.
So where I am in 10 years, I know where I'd like to be.
Yeah.
But if I say it, it's going to sound really arrogant, so I'm not going to say it. It's not meant to, but
yeah.
You know.
No, I completely understand. Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it's always been about recognition from other musicians. You know, for my playing, it's not about making loads of money, and that's cool. That's fine. Yeah. It's nice to you know, have financial rewards for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's important as well. But I genuinely have always been interested in people liking my playing. And so far that's gone quite well. Yeah. Hopefully it'll keep going well. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, what about you?
Oh man, I was scared about that. You know, I feel the same. I feel that when I started this adventure, I had no idea what would happen, and there's been some open doors, new doors, and I don't really want to make a plan because
yeah, that's a good point. Good way of putting it.
If I do put a plan, like I might be, what's the word? I keep thinking in French. I'm probably too tired, I think. Missing out on something else. Yeah. So it's been amazing, and meeting people like you, being on NAMM and stuff. It's great. I love it. I love everything that's happening right now.
Well, that's the thing. I couldn't have predicted this 10 years ago, so I probably can't predict what's going to happen 10 years from now. So I hope it's going to be good, though.
I'm sure it will. Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Stay tuned.
For you. Yeah.
In 10 years, we'll do another video.
When we're completely grey. Yep. I'll have no hair by that point, so we'll do a hair update.
Yeah. Well, we've got to wrap it up because I don't know when this is going to close. But thanks a lot, Tom.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
cool.
see you soon. We'll have a jam sometime.
Absolutely. We'll do another video.
Okay.
Awesome.
See you next time.
See you soon.
Salut.